Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking more about the Hudson Bay Arctic Bridge and how the Arctic Bridge is the symbolic representation of the Golden Gate Bridge. And during the events of Revelation, the symbolic Golden Gate will be opening above Hudson Bay. So the events of Revelation, or the Wormwood events, or World War III, will begin in Canada at Hudson Bay. And I've talked about this in a previous video. Just have more information to show you here today. This is a slide that I had put up on my Facebook group back in June. And I'm finally getting around to showing you guys. But it's about the symbolism and the rituals with Harry Potter and Hudson Bay and the Golden Gate Bridge. And we're going to be talking about the Golden Gate Bridge here. And we're going to be looking at this number 101. US Route 101 runs over the Golden Gate Bridge. And that connects to Revelation 10:1. Revelation 10:1 is the symbolic portal or gateway verse of Revelation. Then we're going to go to the map here and look at the Seattle Space Needle, the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, and how it connects to Hudson Bay. And I'll show you here this triangle, what I call the nuclear triangle. Okay, the Hudson Bay Arctic Bridge collapse, Revelation ritual foreshadowing the opening of the Golden Gate, December 2019. And remember, I had put this out in June, so I just copied and pasted this into the slide here. But I'm also at the end of the video going to show you my calendar shift and how December of 2019 symbolically shifts into January, February, March, and April. But we'll get to that at the end. So let's take a look here at Revelation 6:12, the verse about the great earthquake. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So if we look at the date of 6/12/2019, this was 1776% of a common year after 9/11. (1776% of a common year). Also on 6/12/2019, this was 177 weeks and 6 days after the death of the actor Alan Rickman, who played Severus Snape in Harry Potter. Alan Rickman died on 1/14/2016. And the prime factorization of 114 is 2 times 3 times 19. Our 2319. I did a whole video on the 2319. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you go back and watch this. I'll leave a link in the description. Very important video I did about the 2319, how it connects aliens, UFOs, to the presidents of the United States. Specifically Reagan and Obama, and Donald Trump as well. So Alan Rickman's last film was released on the 135th day after his death, and that film was Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is another reference to the portal or gateway. And Golden Gate Bridge sums to 135 in ordinal gematria. Golden Gate Bridge sums to 135. And Alice Through the Looking Glass was released on the 135th day after his death. Alice Through the Looking Glass, released on May 27th, 2016. So Alice Through the Looking Glass, released the 135th day after Alan's death. And 5/27/2016, what connects that is the anniversary of the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge opened on May 27th, 1937. Alice Through the Looking Glass was released on the 79th anniversary of the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge. So that's why we have our Gematria connection and our 135th day after his death. So the character that he played in Harry Potter was named Severus Snape. So let's start here by looking at the Space Needle in Seattle. I have a line drawn from the Space Needle to the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. And if we look at the distance here, that line is 2,777 kilometers. And that's the 404th prime number for the 404 verses in Revelation. And if we look at the Space Needle, construction for the Space Needle started on April 17th, 1961. And the construction for the Gateway Arch started on 2/12/1963. There were 666 days between the construction beginning of the Needle and the Gateway Arch. So if we look at the Gateway Arch and look at the orientation of the Gateway Arch, and we draw a line to what the Gateway Arch in St. Louis is pointing to. It's actually pointing directly to Snape Island in Hudson Bay, confirming that our portal, or our gateway, is going to be opening over Hudson Bay. And if we go to the Snape Island Wikipedia page here, I'll cover this in another video, but there was a movie called Horror on Snape Island. But if we look at this Wikipedia page here, it also says C, also Potter Island. Potter Island is also in Hudson Bay. This is Potter Island right here, and like I had mentioned before, this is the character Harry Potter is named after Potter Island. The entrance to Hudson Bay, the Arctic Bridge entrance to Hudson Bay, runs by Potter Island. And the reason that the author named him Harry Potter, the etymology of Harry means to make war, lay waste, ravage, or plunder. So J.K. Rowling definitely using the symbolism of Hudson Bay and the events of Revelation in her Harry Potter books as her main character, Harry Potter. The symbolic Golden Gate Bridge, or the Arctic Bridge. This is the entrance, or the gateway, to Hudson Bay. So we're going to go back here and take a look at Revelation 10:1. Revelation 10:1 is the 165th verse of Revelation. And 165 is the 9th tetrahedral number. (165) is the 9th tetrahedral number. And that's also our symbolic gateway. That's why we have movies like The Ninth Gate, showing the Freemason Arch, the Royal Masonic Arch, the pillars and the portal. And if we go back and look here at the origin of the 3313 that I've showed you guys, Revelation 8:11 encodes the 24th star number. It's the 141st verse of Revelation. And 141 plus 24 is 165. So we move to the Revelation 10:1. So Revelation 10:1 is the symbolic Stargate. Now we're going to go take a look at this here. I'll show you that after I show you this. Revelation 10:1 is our symbolic Stargate. So if we look here at the Washington Monument, the Washington Monument is placed in between two overlapping circles that form the Vesica Pisces, and the monument itself is kind of located inside of a portal or gateway. And if we look at the cornerstone of the monument that was first laid on July 4th, 1848, and then the monument was opened on October 9th, 1888. All that information is contained here in this first couple paragraphs of the Washington Monument page here. But it's 14,707 days from the beginning of construction to the opening of the Washington Monument. And this is a 1477 without the zero. And if we go to our Revelation 10:1, Revelation 10:1 sums to 1477 in ordinal Gematria. So they encoded Revelation 10:1 into the construction dates of the Washington Monument. Also, another place to find the 1477 is on the dual-tone multi-frequency keypad. The third column of the keypad is the 1477 Hertz column with our 3, 6, and 9. And that goes back to our famous quote from Nikola Tesla. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. So if we look at these columns here, the 3, the 6, and the 9 are in the 1477 Hertz column, but they're also in the 697, 770, and 852 Hertz row. So if we sum 697 plus 770 plus 852, that gets us to our 2319, which connects us back to our UFO and alien number, the 2319, the prime factorization of the 114. And of course, I'm sure you're all familiar with the meme ET phone home. That's why they used that verbiage, because on a telephone pad, keypad, the 369 sum to 2319. That's why it's so important to go back and watch my 2319 video. So if we take a look here on the map, I'll back up here. These 3 pegs here are on the 3 nuclear missile ICBM bases, a Maelstrom Air Force Base, Minot Air Force Base, and Francis E. Warren Air Force Base. These are the locations of the nuclear missile silos, the underground silos. And whether you believe in nuclear weapons or not, it's important just to understand the narrative that nuclear weapons set. They provide a context. If there is a large explosion and fire, nuclear weapons will be the context that people will put in the category there. No matter what's really happening, the context of nuclear weapons exists. And whether they're real or not, it's the ideas in people's mind that all this ritual is creating here. But if we look at this triangle here where the 3 bases, 3 ICBM bases are, where the intersection on the west side is, we have Yellowstone Park, which of course is known to be a supervolcano. There's a lot of volcanic activity in this area. And then on the east intersection of the triangle here is Mount Rushmore, which is located in Keystone, near Keystone, South Dakota. Another reference to the key or the gateway. So this is our nuclear triangle, our 3 underground ICBM bases, and the connection here to the UFOs. If we go here to the list of reported UFO sightings, at Warren Air Force Base on October 23rd, 2010, there was a UFO sighting that coincided with 50 nuclear missiles going offline. So they're setting the narrative again here that UFOs are going to be involved and that UFOs can control our nuclear arsenal. And also, back in the 60s, on March 24th, 1967, a UFO that was hovering over Maelstrom Air Force Base also disabled all the nuclear weapons at Maelstrom in Montana. And there was even this even made it to television on the Science Channel. So they're definitely setting the narrative or setting up the story for Project Bluebeam, for the alien invasion. And that's going to be, of course, that's going to happen in Hudson Bay, the symbolic Golden Gate. Okay, one more thing here I want to show you guys. One of my subscribers, Martin Webb, had pointed this out to me. But if we take the slogan, Make America Great Again, and look at it as the acronym MEGA, MEGA means contact in Hebrew. So Donald Trump here, of course, connected to UFOs on August 16th, 2018. Supposedly there was UFOs sighted over his golf course in Scotland. Another UFO connection here. And also, I'm going to fully explain this in its own standalone video shortly here, hopefully. But there's one date on my calendar that I want to show you, and that's March 25th, 2020. And if we look at the date of March 25th, 2020, it's a total span of 6,771 days after 9/11. This is the mirror of 1776. And I have the EAS here next to the 6771. This date connects to the emergency alert system. And I believe I have the whole emergency alert system decoded, and all the connections to this date. And like I said before, I will explain all the leapfrogging dates here on this calendar. But what's interesting about March 25th, 2020, it's 6771 total days after 9/11, plus 325 plus 2020. That sums to 9116. And if we look at the number 9116, it's always 911 no matter how you look at it here. And I had shown Bobby Simpson this date, and this is something he pointed out to me. On 9/11/2001, if we look at the moon was between Jupiter and Saturn on 9/11. And if we go to 2020, on March 25th, and look at Mars, on March 25th, 2020, Mars will be between Jupiter and Saturn. Of course, Saturn, the god of time, and his son Jupiter, or Zeus, and in between them, the god of war. Just an interesting astronomical connection there that Bobby pointed out to me. Okay, guys, I have lots more to show you, so thanks for watching.